Let's be honest. Most people aren't broke because they lack opportunity. They're broke because they're trapped in an invisible cage. A mental cage. A set of beliefs, fears, and habits passed down like a virus disguised as reality. But what if your entire reality is a lie you've inherited? You see, poverty isn't just a financial condition. It's a mindset reinforced by repetition, comfort, and quiet surrender. And the most dangerous part, it feels normal. Ever wondered why success feels unnatural, even suspicious? Welcome to Growth Mindset Success, where we break the chains most never even see. In this video, we're not talking about get-rich-quick schemes. We're exposing the mental code, the subconscious programming that keeps people poor without them even realizing it. What invisible rules have been running your life? If you've ever felt stuck, like you were born into limitation and can't escape, stay with me. Because what you'll discover next might just flip your world upside down. The comfort of struggle. Why hardship feels familiar. Why does discomfort feel so familiar, yet freedom feels risky? One of the most deceptive traps of poverty is emotional comfort. Yes, comfort in chaos, in struggle, in survival mode. People often mistake familiarity for safety. If your whole life has been about just getting by, then anything beyond that, like building wealth or owning your time, can feel terrifying. What if you're rejecting success, not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar? The mind clings to what it knows, and if you've only been trained to survive, not thrive, your brain will silently sabotage anything that threatens the struggle. Could your loyalty to pain be stronger than your desire for change? To break free, you must recognize what you've become emotionally attached to and then choose to unlearn it. Because poverty begins in your emotions long before it shows up in your bank account. Learned helplessness, the inherited lie of powerlessness. What if the voice in your head isn't yours at all? Many people remain poor because they've been taught to believe they're powerless. This isn't accidental, it's learned. This trap is called learned helplessness. It's when failure is repeated so often, you stop trying, not because you can't succeed, but because you believe it's pointless. How many dreams have died in your mind before they ever had a chance to live? It starts early. You're not smart enough. People like us don't do that. Rich people are greedy. Be realistic. These phrases are mental malware, silently convincing you to shrink, settle, and accept less. But here's the truth. Power is not something you wait for. It's something you claim. Ask yourself, what would I attempt if I believed I could not fail? Because most people aren't stuck. They're trained to stay small. Unlearning is the first step to earning. The demonization of wealth. Why rich equals evil in their minds. Do you want to be rich, or do you secretly fear what that might say about you? If deep down you associate wealth with greed, corruption, or cold-heartedness, how could you ever let yourself become wealthy? This is one of the most powerful subconscious traps. Moral resistance to money. You've heard it all your life. Money is the root of all evil. Too much money changes people. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That's not morality, it's programming. Money doesn't create character, it exposes it. If you're generous, money lets you give more. If you're a builder, money becomes your tool. What if being poor isn't noble but unnecessary? Until you separate guilt from wealth, you'll repel money at every opportunity. Because if wealth feels wrong, poverty will always feel like the right choice. Addiction to instant gratification, the wealth killer in disguise. What if the things that feel good now are stealing your future? Wealth requires long-term thinking, but most people are addicted to short-term pleasure. Fast food, fast money, fast dopamine. It's the dopamine trap where your brain becomes addicted to now, instead of focused on next. That $5 coffee, that impulse scroll, that spontaneous purchase. They may seem small, but they're invisible chains holding you down. Are you trading your future for convenience? The rich think in decades. The poor think in weekends. Here's the shift. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect. Train your brain to fall in love with long-term rewards, because the future belongs to those who can wait for it. Financial ignorance is not innocent. Why do we spend 12 years in school and never learn how money works? School didn't teach taxes, credit, assets, budgeting, or investing. Why? Because uninformed people are easier to control. So people stay broke not because they're dumb, but because they're left in the dark. They chase hourly wages instead of ownership. They aim for promotions instead of freedom. What crucial financial truths have you never been told? The brutal fact is, what you don't know is already costing you. And in the age of information, ignorance is no longer innocent. It's a decision. If you want to be rich, you need to get curious. Start asking questions no one taught you to ask. Identity lock-in. I'm just not that type of person. Who told you you're not meant for success? And why did you believe them? Many people stay poor because they don't see themselves as someone who could be wealthy. That's identity lock-in. If you keep saying, I'm just not good with money, I'm not business-minded, I'm not like those people, then your brain will do everything it can to make that true. What if your identity is the prison and you're holding the key? But here's the truth. Identity isn't fixed, it's fluid. Each small step you take saving, learning, resisting temptation is a vote for a new version of you. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to become the version of you who is not afraid of wealth. Environmental gravity, surrounded by the same cycles. Could the people closest to you be silently keeping you stuck? If everyone around you is broke, stressed, or complacent, guess what you'll absorb? This is the law of environmental gravity. You don't rise above your surroundings, you reflect them. You inherit their fears, their limits, their beliefs. If no one's talking about wealth or growth, you won't either. What conversations dominate your world, and are they building your future? To evolve, you may need to rise above your circle, not out of arrogance, but out of urgency. Because if your environment doesn't grow, neither will you. Choose your circle like your life depends on it, because it does. If this is hitting home, now's the time to hit like, subscribe to Growth Mindset Success, and comment below, what's one money belief you now realize was holding you back? Lack of strategy. Hard work without direction is a trap. Are you exhausting yourself or elevating yourself? Most poor people aren't lazy. They work harder than anyone. But without strategy, effort becomes a trap. You can hustle all day, but if you don't know where you're going, you'll never arrive. Is your work building wealth or just surviving the week? Wealth comes from systems, leverage, and long-term value, not just sweat. You can't save your way to freedom. You need multiplication, not just addition. Because without a plan, your grind becomes your cage. Final unlock. Poverty is a story. You can rewrite it. What if your whole financial life has been someone else's script, and you're the one who gets to flip the page? Every mental trap, every limiting belief, it's all a story. And the most powerful moment of your life, when you stop reading the one you were handed and start writing your own. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You're simply untrained. But that ends now, and the pen is in your hands. Poverty is a system. Wealth is a skill. And your awareness, that's the beginning of transformation. Now it's time to act. Like this video if it made you rethink your mindset. Subscribe to Growth Mindset Success. We're not just growing rich, we're growing wise. Drop a comment. Which mental trap did you see in yourself today? Because here's the truth. You don't escape poverty by accident. You escape it by awareness and by action. Until next time, train your mind, challenge your limits, and never accept the default script.